The twins, Ira and Amna, were only 9 years old, but life had already given them lessons that most adults never wanted to learn. Their mother had died when they were barely old enough to remember her face clearly, leaving behind a silence in their small rented room that never truly faded. Their father was unknown to them, a shadow that existed only in unanswered questions. What they did have was a single dad who wasn't their biological parent, a man named Rehan who had found them on the worst night of their lives. Rehan was a widower himself, struggling to raise his own young son while working double shifts as a night security guard. On a rainy evening 2 years earlier, he had come across the twins huddled under a broken bus stop shelter, soaked, hungry, and clinging to each other as if the world might steal one away if they let go. Social services were overwhelmed, relatives were non-existent, and Rehan made a decision that would shape all their futures. He took them home. Rehan never claimed to be a hero. He was tired, underpaid, and constantly worried about how to stretch one meal into two. The twins slept on a thin mattress on the floor beside his son's bed, and every morning they woke up before dawn to help him pack lunches that were smaller than they should have been. Yet there was warmth in that cramped home, a kind of quiet love built from shared struggle. Rehan believed deeply that dignity mattered, even when money didn't exist, and he insisted the girls attend school, even if their shoes were worn and their bags were secondhand. School, however, was not kind. Children can sense difference quickly, and poverty has a way of making someone visible in all the wrong ways. The twins were whispered about, laughed at, and sometimes openly mocked. Their clothes, their lunches, the way they spoke softly and kept their eyes down, all of it made them targets. Teachers noticed, but sympathy doesn't always translate into protection. Music class was the only place where the twins felt something close to peace. They loved the way melodies filled the room, the way sound could cover pain for a few moments. At home, when Rehan worked late, they sang quietly to their younger brother, lullabies their mother once hummed, songs that felt older than words. What no one knew was that those quiet songs were extraordinary. The day of the assembly arrived without warning. A teacher, trying to manage a restless room, remembered hearing the twins hum once and decided to put them forward. Some students snickered immediately. To them, this was entertainment, a chance to watch the poor girls embarrass themselves. When the twins were told to go to the front and sing, their faces drained of color. They had never sung alone in front of anyone before. Their legs felt weak, their throats tight. But they remembered Rehan's tired smile that morning, the way he told them to be brave in small ways, and they walked forward together. As they stood there, the laughter grew louder. Someone mimicked a singing gesture mockingly. Another student covered their ears dramatically. The twins closed their eyes, not to block the sound, but to find each other in the dark behind their eyelids. And then they sang. The first note was soft, almost fragile, like it might break if pushed too hard. Then the second note joined it, and something rare happened. Their voices blended so naturally, so purely, that it felt less like two children singing and more like a single soul breathing music into the room. The melody rose slowly, carrying sadness, hope, and longing all at once. It was a song about loss and waiting, about believing someone would come back even when they never did. The laughter died instantly. One by one, mouths closed. Eyes widened. Even the teachers froze. By the time the chorus arrived, the room was completely silent. Not the awkward silence of boredom, but the heavy, emotional stillness that comes when something true has been uncovered. Some students felt their throats tighten without understanding why. A teacher felt tears sting unexpectedly. For those few minutes, the twins were no longer poor girls being laughed at. They were storytellers, carrying pain and beauty in equal measure. When the song ended, there was no immediate applause. The silence lingered, thick and respectful, until someone in the back began clapping slowly. The sound spread, growing into a standing ovation that the twins didn't quite understand. They stood there, trembling, unsure if they were in trouble or if they had done something wrong. They returned to their seats quietly, hearts pounding. News of that moment traveled faster than anyone expected. A music teacher recorded a short clip on her phone and shared it with the school administration. Within days, it reached a local community group. Then it reached a small radio station. Rehan came home one afternoon to find people waiting outside his door, asking about the girls. He panicked at first, protective fear rising in his chest. He had taken them in to keep them safe, not to push them into a world that could hurt them again. But when he saw the way the twins' eyes lit up when someone asked them to sing, he realized that hiding their gift might be another kind of loss. Life did not magically become easy. Opportunities came with complications. There were auditions, paperwork, transportation costs, and moments where Rihan nearly said no because the burden felt too heavy. He was exhausted, often questioning whether he was doing the right thing. But each time he watched the twins sing, watched how their shoulders straightened and their confidence grew, he found the strength to keep going. The same school that once laughed now listened. Teachers became advocates. Classmates who mocked them before now watched with something close to awe. The twins were invited to perform at a local charity event, where their song left an entire hall in tears. Someone offered to help with vocal training. Another offered help with school supplies. Small kindnesses piled up, changing the shape of their days. Rihan watched all of this quietly from the back of rooms, hands folded, eyes heavy with emotion. He never stepped into the spotlight. His reward was seeing the girls sleep peacefully at night, knowing they felt seen for the first time. He thought about that rainy night at the bus stop often, wondering how close all of this had come to never happening at all. Years later, people would talk about that first performance as if it were destiny, as if talent always finds its way. But Rihan knew better. He knew that talent needs protection, patience, and someone willing to stand between it and a cruel world. The twins' voices were powerful, but it was love that gave them space to grow.